Hello PPL fans and welcome to Heat of the Week for Week 5. I'm Shroomraver, he's OnesieBanette, and a few interesting things to go over here today. Not as much heat outright as we had last week, but we have done our digging. We have found some choice ones to give you, have we not?
Oh yes, this is a hand-picked selection of the finest heat that this week could possibly have given us. So hot, in fact, that I've had to protect my eyes from the sun, which will be featured this week. But yes, some cool heat this week, some very fun stuff. Let's get these glasses off and get right into it.
Weak. Taking off the glasses, how could you?
I know, right?
Unacceptable behaviour. But there has been some heat this week, both within the game and just literally. And almost no more so than number 3 on our list, and that is going to be Drew and the New York Marauders taking on Addison's London Shockwave with quite the special brute bonnet. You have a bit more to say on this one, don't you?
Yes, so this was a very interesting bring from Drew. It was the first game I watched this week. I was looking forward to this one because I isolated it in the weekly preview as a matchup that was heavily in favour of Addison, and it was going to cause a little bit of creativity from Drew to come out. So I figured it was going to be one to watch, and it certainly did not disappoint. Drew brings a specially offensive brute bonnet. I'm never going to get over that.
You're right there.
No, I'm not.
Oh, what's that? Are you mispronouncing something, Alex?
Oh, how the tables have turned.
We like to have fun here.
We certainly do. But yes, Drew brings a specially offensive Terrifier brute bonnet, which normally it goes physically offensive. I'm pretty sure Drew's reasoning for this, having watched his team builder, was quite literally that he wanted to throw a curveball and bring something a little bit different, and it makes a little bit of sense when you actually look at the matchup. Terrifier, special Terrifier I should say, does one-shot King Gambit in the sun. It does a lot of damage with its stabs, obviously with the Giga Drain to recover health, and if you're in the sun it can run Synthesis to recover its health back up. The thing was basically just meant to be a like a wall breaker that just came in and hit something really hard. Drew did not bring Sucker Punch this week on this thing, even though there was a a Dragapult on the other side, having to go with this special set instead, and it did quite a bit of work. It did smack Zapdos with a big Terrifier throughout the game, chipping it down to about 76%, and at that point Addison is just like, oh god, I've just lost this thing, the game is over. She was very, very worried at that point, so this thing managing to get a big hit off and chip down that Zapdos was huge. But yeah, special brute bonnet, I mean, there's not really much else I can say. It was a fun bring.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed this one. Brute Bonnet's special attack's like its second lowest stat, so seeing that brought to the fore is always nice. Ability to run Earth Power, you know, we were talking about this earlier, Earth Power versus Stomping Tantrum, why go special? A couple of Intimidators, one being Arcanine, get around that Toxic Debris from the Glamora, which we've seen happen already this season. So some intelligent thought on Drew's part to bring it that way, and throwing a curveball, it's what we're here for, it's what we like. So yeah, big shout out to Drew. I think it's the first time we've seen Drew on Heat of the Week.
Yes, it is. Drew's got that very scary Sun team, which kind of it tempts you to build in a specific way every week, and yeah, Drew has kind of fallen prey to that a couple of times already, and it's not done him too badly so far. But this week he decided to go a little bit out of the box here, and in his team builder he basically described it as just a curveball to play a little bit differently. Heat for the sake of heat, and that's what we're here for. So
we love it. We love it. Well, welcome to Heat of the Week, Drew.
Welcome, my dude. Welcome. Let's go Marauders.
Yes, so that's going to be number 3. Number 2 on the list is going to be something that a lot of people will have noted as a big talking point for the week, and that's MV San Diego Chimchargers taking on Jay's Atlanta Victinis with the Dunsparce.
I think it's safe to say that Jay was done for when he saw the matchup.
This is what I have to work with. This is
I'm not
this
sorry.
is the level we're at. I know you're not. I would expect nothing less. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and give us the rundown of this one, because it was a big talking point, this particular set.
Yes, it was. So this the Dunsparce basically came in and then did not leave until everything was dead. It was a case of a coil Dunsparce, which is fairly standard for most Dunsparces. They tend to bring that quite often. But this one was a little bit special. It basically just set up coil. It was facade just in case Jay's Alolan Muck was able to, snag a poison on it with the poison touch. And yeah, it just basically did the thing. It was facade, it had Dragon Tail just in case anything tried to start setting up alongside it, which did potentially happen with the Orthworm, which could have really screwed him over quite a bit. If that thing had started to set up alongside the Dunsparce, it could have caused a double down. But the thing just basically came in, just set up and just didn't go until the very end where he switched it out to give Screamtail a kill. So, I mean, it's fairly standard, but it's also friggin' fire. It's a Dunsparce sweep. What more can we say?
Yeah, I think Envy doesn't. I think Envy's sets that we consider to be heat are just naturally that way because of the way he builds things. And I think it's probably safe to assume he was out for blood this week after what happened last time. No names mentioned. Joey. But yeah, I mean, he played it very effectively. Like we say, it's not the most out-of-the-box set to be run on a Dunsparce. A few little changes here and there with the facade. I don't know how often they run rattled, but that was a nice touch too. Yeah, and it did the job. It did the Dunsparce thing and netted Envy a considerable victory over Jay.
It's very much a case of Envy needed to bounce back from the last 2 weeks of not getting a kill, so he decided, this week you're not going to get a kill.
Yeah, it's just going to be the Dunsparce.
It's the Dunsparce show. But yeah, with the rattled, very clever, because normally they're in Serene Grace Headbutt, but if you're going to go facade, there's no need for any hacks, so you might as well run rattled, and it worked out really well, allowing it to outspeed some of Jay's faster Pokemon. So yeah, very fun set at number 2 this week.
Yeah, precisely. Before we move on to our number 1 spot, we got a few honourable mentions here, mostly things that we liked the idea of but didn't get a chance to work. First up, the one that probably worked the best for what it was supposed to. It's been so prevalent, especially in the past few weeks, Specs Overheat from various Pokemon catching things off guard. And what do you have for this Specs Overheat? Well, Q comes in with Chicago Dragapults versus Nexus's Pittsburgh Pichus with AV Samurott, which I just thought was quite neat. He brought it in heavy on the Hisuian Typhlosion, I think it is, the Nexus has.
Yes.
Going with the Specs Overheat, which did just absolutely dick. I looked into Q's build and hear his thoughts on it. Set to take 2 Specs Terra Blasts from that Typhlosion. Really nice build, and it did the job. It got unfortunate with a missed Hydro Pump, I think it was.
Yes, late towards the game on the Iron Valiant, it missed its sting, allowing Nexus to set up to +2.
Yeah. But, it did the job that it was supposed to against the Typhlosion. So, yeah, fair play. Slightly unexpected counters come in all shapes and sizes, and this was one of them. So, nicely done.
Before we move on, just a quick shout out as well. Shout out to Nexus for getting his first win this week.
Yes.
Very, very well deserved, despite his attempts to throw
Nexus
at the end. But,
He tried his hardest. But, yeah, congrats, Nexus. First win. Let's see him go up from here. Always a good thing. Couple of other ones to mention. The ones that didn't work out so well, but we liked the sets anyway. Specifically, the game of Lars's Borussia Donphan versus Shuckle King's Philadelphia Stunkies. The first thing to say is, Lars. It hit me. It hit us there. It hit us there. It hit us a lot more accurately than you hit most of your moves. Yeah, I mean, missed 3 fire attacks versus Tinkerton and got full powered on another one. He was livid, and rightly so. But what we want to talk about in this game, from a fun set perspective, was that it had not only Power Trip Corviknight, which you don't see very often, but also stored Power Jolteon, which was fun. Both sides had that particular kind of set. So you had like Bulk Up Power Trip Corviknight and Carmine stored Power Jolteon, which was fun.
The race to see,
quite like that.
Yeah, the race to see who could set up first. I mean,
and it was none of them. they didn't quite have the impact that either coach wanted to, but we quite liked them. And speaking of not having quite the impact that you wanted from setup, the final honourable mention gonna be Uzi and the Bullet Punch Club taking on Mephisto's niece Jinx with what I've dubbed the anti-setup on his Enamorous Therian. Calm Mind Eye in defense, Draining Kiss to get back health, Taunt and Speed investment on quite a slow mon to stop any nasty anti-taunt shenanigans, and Overcoat to reduce any kind of extra damage going on there. Yeah, it was just, I quite liked it. It was a fun set, and it was set up to go against setup and to go against anti-setup. It was all a bit confusing, it was all a bit weird. Unfortunately, Uzi never quite got the chance to pull it off because, I mean, you were saying, Alex, that Mephisto just pressured him way too much. Way too much.
Yeah, this game was very unfortunate for Uzi. He had a very sound strategy and a very clear, defined game plan, but Mephisto just put a lot of early pressure on with his offensive mons and didn't really give Uzi much time to actually think about what he wanted to do next. So by the time he did manage to get his big threat in, the Electro Ball wasn't enough to kill the Chi-Yu, and it just basically fell apart from there. But that Enamorous was very clever, and had it come off, it would definitely have made the list. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yes, absolutely true. But that does bring us to number 1 on this week's list. And ladies and gentlemen, she's been threatening it for so long now. She has been bringing heat after heat and missing out by whiskers here and there. But my goodness, this week Addison has outdone herself. Addison, once again, it's the London Shockwave against Drew. Addison had a few fun things here. Sub-disabled Dragapult is quite fun. Similar kind of reasonings to other times we've seen that set. And what was that EV spread? I'm so confused by it, but if it works, it works. I liked Scarf, Sleep Talks, Zapdos. That's quite fun as well. But the set we are going to talk about: Substitute, Binding Band, Fire Spin, Outrage, Overheat, Arcanine.
Has a bit of everything, doesn't it? It has the typical PPL unstabbed dragon coverage. It has an unconventional item. It has a whack EV spread. Just a bit of everything, really.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this kind of build a little bit. It's kind of for this Torkoal Walking Wake combo. Something that can take out the Torkoal and be ready then to take out the Walking Wake coming in to take advantage of the sun for the last time. Plan here being sub up on the Torkoal and then Binding Band Fire Spin. You never see Binding Band. You just never see it. You barely see Fire Spin. But Binding Band, it increases the damage of those moves. Is it increases the damage or does it make them last longer?
No, it increases the damage. I think there is another one that does increase
Grip Claw.
I think.
Yes.
We'll do some research.
I think, yeah. I'm sure the editors, whomsoever they be this week, will absolutely tear into us across the screen if we're wrong, and shower us with praise and love if we're right. But yes, sub-Binding Band to keep that Torkoal in there and cause as much damage in the sun as well, and then had the Overheat on there to hit it on the special side in the sun, causing enough damage, hopefully to take it out with that Binding Band damage. Be behind a sub for when the Walking Wake comes in, and hit it not only with Unstabbed Dragon coverage, but with the king of Unstabbed Dragon coverage, Unstabbed Outrage. Ooh.
It's not just Unstabbed Dragon coverage, that's Unstabbed Dragon coverage that hits 2 or 3 times. That's when you're going all in on the Unstabbed Dragon coverage.
Yeah, and what made it almost even more impressive was that was what it was meant for. It didn't necessarily even do that, but what it did was take out Clodsire very early game. Arcanine versus Clodsire is not necessarily a matchup you'd put money on Arcanine for, but it did exactly what it was supposed to do against a wall to the Clodsire, takes it out fairly easily with not too much damage on it, and was able to go from there. It did exactly a job it was supposed to by being heat and taking out a wall. I loved it. Loved it.
I think my favourite part about this set is that it was basically a scalpel. It was used with surgical precision to isolate the defensive answers on Drew's team and just remove them from the game. With that binding band fire spin, it just allowed Addison to trap something and basically guaranteed that whatever happened, she was getting the favourable game state at the end of it. Either Clodsire goes down, or the Torkoal goes down, or it hits something for massive damage. And it was really clever. Like, not just a case of it's a meme for meme's sake. It was a meme that was executed really well and had logic behind it. It's creativity for the best kind of purpose. It was just really good. And Addison, we've had our backs and forths behind the scenes. She's been very vocal about Heat of the Week. She's a big fan, which must stress that. She disagrees and agrees with some of the decisions we've made, but I think it's fair to say you deserved Heat of the Week this week.
Oh yeah, 100%. In Addison's own words, in the narration, surely that's enough for Heat of the Week. Yes.
It was.
Yes, it was. I mean, that was an inspired bring, and we both loved it. I mean, we had a little bit of trouble sorting out some of the honourable mentions and some of the picks that we were looking at. This one for both of us, immediately top.
Literally.
No questions about it.
No question, no discussion. With some of our weeks this week, some of our weeks in the past, like for Heat of the Week, we have had quite a lot of trouble deciding what wins. But this week, there was just no contest. It was very, very good.
Yes, indeed. Really good stuff, Addison. She's done what she threatened to do, and she's taken Heat of the Week. Now, will she defend it?
At the moment, the winner of Heat of the Week, as we know, is still QtheCostaRican, having won it twice. Can you dethrone him? Can any of our coaches dethrone Q's reign of dominancy?
Well, it remains to be seen. For next week, when this continues, obviously, we'll be here to sort out who's leading the leaderboards of Heat of the Week, and hope you will be as well. So thank you all very much for watching this week. We hope you enjoyed. As ever, let us know down in the comments what you think. Did you agree with ours? Is there any we missed out? Anything that you'd have put on here? Let us know. We love hearing your thoughts, as always. But yeah, we're going to get out of here until next time. So our final thank you to you for watching, and we will see you on the next one. Laters.
Catch you later.